January is Thyroid Awareness Month, and a growing number of women are being diagnosed with thyroid cancer. It's grown so fast that it's now the 8th most common cancer in the U.S., which begs the question of why this number is continuing to rise and what can be done to stop us. Here to answer those questions this morning is Dr. Teresa Croker, who just so happens to be Austin's leading thyroid surgeon. Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Croker.
Good morning, Jacqueline.
Can you tell us, for viewers at home who aren't sure exactly what your thyroid is and what thyroid cancer entails, can you just explain that to us a little?
Yeah. So your thyroid is a small gland that hangs over your trachea, just right down here, low in the neck. It's very important. It has it controls the way your entire body functions. But structurally, we can get nodules and cancer in it, and there's a few symptoms. And the reason that it is essentially tripled in the incidence over the last decade is because I think we're finding them earlier. Ultrasounds are so easy to do, and so we're just finding more of them. I think that's why the incidence is increasing.
Which is good if you're catching them earlier.
Right.
Is there anything people at home can do to try and prevent thyroid cancer?
So as far as prevention goes, I mean, we know that there's risk factors for thyroid cancer. Radiation exposure, for example, if you're in Chernobyl in 1986 at a nuclear explosion, that's a risk factor for thyroid cancer. If your family has thyroid cancer, it's a risk factor. So you just need to be aware if you have any of those risk factors, but really the only thing that you can do is to identify it, and that is asking your primary care physician or your OB just to feel your thyroid gland. And because there's very few symptoms of it. It will just be a mass here in your neck. And so when you see your primary care physician or your OB every year, just make sure they're checking your thyroid and just, you know, feeling your gland right here.
Doing those yearly checks.
Yeah.
What should you do if you are diagnosed?
So once someone feels a nodule in your neck, the next step is to see either an endocrinologist or a thyroid surgeon like myself, and just to do an ultrasound and a biopsy if indicated. Once you have the biopsy of thyroid cancer, the main treatment is surgery. Following surgery, you may or may not need one additional treatment called radioactive iodine. And not everyone is needing that. We're actually backing away from that, which is good because it's radiation. And then following surgery and any further treatment, you just follow with an endocrinologist to follow for recurrence in your lifetime.
So I know you're involved in a lunch and learn event. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I am. So the Ignite Women, there's an Ignition of Women or Ignite Women's Health that Seton is doing. And Seton Northwest is hosting a thyroid lunch and learn, and they've asked me to just speak on just general conditions in the thyroid gland. The first lunch and learn is on Tuesday, January 29, and it's full, but we've added on an additional block for February 6th.